Let me share my screen. How is your day? How is the family?
Yeah, we're fine. No, and yours?
No,
Thank you for asking.
Everybody's doing well.
Yeah, to God be the glory.
Amen. Okay. So let's go to chapter 2. And again, I'm just going to go and do the summary recap.
Okay.
Yes. And this one is talking about types of policies. So.
Okay.
So in this business, well, let me just talk generally about the types of policies that exist. So insurance is something that has a lot of different types of policies. You know, the marketplace is so creative. They like to do a combination of this and combination of that and hybrid of this and hybrid of that. But the main types of life insurance policies that we work with are, there's term, term insurance. So term insurance is cheap. It's one of the cheapest forms of insurance. But like we say, term, it lasts only for a certain duration of time, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. We also deal with whole life. We can write people whole life, but whole life is sort of old school, whole life is sort of old school. It grows by, whole life accumulates cash, and it grows just by about 2% a year. It doesn't have as many benefits as the universal life. Universal life is really what you want to have. So we do term, we do whole life, we do universal life. There's also what we call the term with living benefits that we do. So we can market somebody a term product that has critical illness and chronic illness as riders on it. But again, that's for a limited duration of time. In the marketplace, you'll also see policies such as annually renewable term. And every time you see the word term, just take out cash. Every time you see the word term, as it regards to the exam, just know that it doesn't accumulate cash. So they will ask you questions about cash build up for this or cash doing this or that. But once you see term in that policy, just know that there is no cash accumulation.
Can you explain what that means? When you say term, that means the maturity is at a certain time, maybe certain year.
Correct.
So when you say it does not accumulate cash, that means the cash is not compounded or it's just fixed for that period of time.
You see, remember we looked at universal life. This is an example of what we looked at.
When you were doing illustration yesterday, is that not?
Correct. Okay.
This
one was not term. This one was index universal life.
Okay.
And you can see the face value for this policy was 1.5 million. The original face value was $1.5 million. Let me go up. $1.5 million. The premium was 1136.25. And if we scroll down, start with year 1 of the policy. Right here, year 1. See, it's $1.5 million, but from year 1, it begins to accumulate cash. It begins to accumulate cash. If it was a term policy, it will not accumulate cash.
Okay.
There will be no cash. So with a term policy, the payment or the face value, also called the death benefit or the initial death benefit, is fixed. Here, the initial death benefit is $1.5 million, but as you pay into the policy, it builds cash. You see, the cash surrender value here is increasing every year.
So, if I may get it clearly, what you are trying to say is that, take for example, year 1, let's assume it made 60,000 first year.
Yes.
So both the principal and the interest accumulate another cash, which makes it compounding interest.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But this one, year 1, this policy value here is high because we added $40,000 initial lump sum. See, initial premium here, it wasn't just $13,000, it was $63,000. So we added like $50,000. That's why year 1 is high. Otherwise, it would have been less than the $60,000 here. Okay.
Okay.
So, but for term, it's just flat. You get it. Let's say it's a 20-year term, $500,000. For 20 years, the payout is going to be $500,000, and that's flat till the end. At the end of those 20 years, your policy expires, and you don't have anything. You don't get any cash back. That is pure term.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm trying to understand is that, take for example, for 10, if you put in one, let's use a small denomination, 1,000.
Yes.
So every interest is going to be calculating yearly on that 1,000, because from
You mean for term?
For 10,
there's no
it's
interest.
not just a compounding.
There's no interest for term.
There's no interest at all.
All right.
Okay.
There's no interest. Yeah, it's just flat.
I got it now.
Let's say your premium is $150 a month, and the payout is $300,000. Year 1, that is what it's going to be every month. $150,000 for $150 premium. The payout is, let me say, $500,000. $500,000. Year 2, same. $150 every month. Payout $500,000. Year 10, same. Doesn't change.
It doesn't change. Okay.
Year
I
20,
got it now.
same. $150 a month. And when year 20 is done, your policy expires. You don't get anything back. You were covered for 20 years. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Your policy has expired. Your money has gone. You don't have anything. And that's why we do not encourage people to have term. 90% of people out there have term.
Okay. I can tell you the logic about that. For those that has a chronic illness,
yes,
the advantage of a term is that even if you take up a term assurance, say 20 years, the first year and the person died, the insurance is still obliged to pay that the insured value.
Correct.
So that is the strategy.
Look, you are very right. Excellent reasoning. I have a term policy. I had the term policy from age 54. It's going to expire when I'm 84. It's a 30-year term. It has living benefits, critical illness, chronic illness. I figure if I'm going to have any issue, it's going to be between 55 and 85. So if I live past 85, it's okay for it to expire. at least I have an IUL that is building me cash that can remain as legacy transfer. But that term covers me for those 30 very critical years. You are very correct.
Mm-hmm.
And the other advantage of term is that it is cheaper than your IUL. So when you start educating people, you can educate them on term. It's cheaper, but know that it's gonna expire. Now, if you were a 54, or let's even say 52 and above, I'll recommend term. With living benefits, term LB, we call it term LB, term with living benefits. I would recommend that.
I think
However,
living benefit should benefit those people between the age of 30 to 50 because they have the time to grow it, and while they are still alive, most of them, they can't start experiencing chronic illness within that period. So it is better to know every policy that is available there so that you throw it on the ground and they pick the one they feel they can benefit. And it's also good to let them know the pros and cons of each of the policy.
Very, very true. I agree with you. Totally. I agree with you. So this is an example of an IUL. All right. So let me show you something, and you'll get a login into production after you pass your exam, and then you'll start experiencing these things real time. Just a minute. All right. So let me come here into production. Let me log in. Okay. Let me go to Transamerica Life Illustrator. All right.
So, close my door.
That's okay. All right. So these are all the products that we offer people. Transamerica Financial Foundation. This is the IUL. Transamerica Financial Choice. This is an IUL for people who want to put top dollar, like $20,000 a month in their IUL. That is the rich person's IUL or the wealthy person's IUL. Transamerica Financial Foundation. This is just like the one. Then you have Transamerica Transeta, term LB. This is term with living benefits. LB stands for living benefits.
All right. Quick question, although we are a bit digressing now. Take, for example, I want to be paying a premium of about $5,000 a month based on the going concern, everything being equal. But 2 years down the line, everything is no more equal. Can I downgrade my premium or keep it on hold till when situation get better?
You can downgrade your premium. For example, okay, let me just go through this and I'll answer that question. This Transeta LB with living benefits, this Transeta Super, this is pure term, no living benefits. All of these are what we call final expense, 10-pay whole life. Final expenses, if you want to have a policy for just about 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, maximum 50,000, that just takes care of burial for that person. There's a small policy. We call this pay solution, final expense. And this is great for people here who have their parents. They've brought their parents from Africa. They are in their mid-60s, mid-70s. They don't have any protection. Anything happens to them, we're going to be hearing about GoFundMe. If you want to get them just a small policy for 30,000, where they can be paying a reasonable amount. If something happens, they pay them to take care of their parents. We do final expense. So we do about 5 types of policies here. We'll learn about them more when we get after you get your license. Now, back to the question that you asked me. Let me just run a quick illustration and I'll show you what you're asking. So it's good that I really demonstrate this, okay? Let me say this person's name is Harry. Last name Opoku. Oku. The age, let's say they are 56. Male, preferred, elite. Let's do them a policy for 250. 250,000. Let's make it graded. Target premium, paid monthly.
Do we have variable premium when you say target premium?
Now, do we have variable?
Yeah, premium.
No, you decide. It's variable. Variable meaning you decide how much you want to pay between a certain target and a minimum lapse. Let me go back.
No, I just saw when you said target premium, that means the premium has been factored into the policy. Is targeted that this is what you're going to pay. So,
yeah,
but I was just asking, do we still have something like variable premium? That means you pay as the economy progresses. Let's say the rate of return is high, then maybe your premium will be high.
To you, I'll show that. So we put their money in balance on cap. This is just showing how they'll take money at retirement. We don't want to bother about that now. We give them coverage for critical illness. We give them coverage for long-term care. Okay. And then let's pick just how we want our report to look. We will calculate here. Okay. So as you see here, again, when we get into our 50s, we don't pay as cheap as people in their 30s would pay. So here, for a $250,000 policy coverage, you have a monthly premium of $668. Okay. Now, if you look at the bottom here, there's something called the minimum no lapse, which is $311. So
what does that mean?
Okay, let me explain. So if you get this policy, you're making your payments every month, and then maybe you've paid for 6 months over 1 year, and the economy gets tough, things get tight, and you cannot meet the 668.
Okay.
You can come drop your payment to a minimum of 311. And it will still give you all of these benefits here. Terminal illness, accelerated rider, over loan protection, critical illness, concierge planning rider, long-term care. It will still give you all of these benefits. However, it will not grow your cash as aggressively as it is predicted because you're paying less into the policy. However, you still have your $250,000 death benefit. You still have your 90% of this in case of critical illness and chronic illness. So you can come and adjust your payment anywhere between 668 and 311. That is the flexibility we are talking about, right?
Okay. I see.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's why I was saying that does he have it? With variable, it is not fixed. This is still like target premium. But what I mean is that in the economy, you can see the interest rate fluctuating.
Yes.
Understand? So let's assume you got some good rate, like on this one, like a living benefit is like you are targeting like 0.75. So But that was the initial target. Then the economy is so good that it raises from 0.75 to like 15%.
Correct.
So I would have expected that, okay, because you are accelerating in your return, maybe the premium should have gone up. But in reverse, let's say the target is 0.7 and it's declining to like 3.5, 2.5, 1.5, maybe that premium would have reversed back to anything between 311 or, I was just thinking that's why I was looking at it. Does he have available premium?
This policy is projected to grow at 7.25.
Yes.
It actually ends up growing somewhere between 9 and 14%.
Okay.
This growth does not affect your premium.
Premium. Okay. That's it.
It doesn't affect your premium. Even if you bring it down to the minimum no lapse, it's not going to affect your growth rate. What is going to affect your growth rate is what Wall Street is doing. If Wall Street is doing very well, you are going to get the max plus a certain percentage of the additional growth. So let's say Wall Street grows by 20% in that year, or the index that will put your funds in, the balance on cap. Let's say it grew by 20%. You're going to get the upper cap of 14% growth plus 20% of the additional growth up to 20%. So you're going to get the 14% plus 20% of 6%. We call it the participation rate. So what affects this interest rate growth is not the premium you're paying, but what Wall Street is doing. Now, this percentage is going to apply to the cash in your policy. So this growth rate, as is assigned for that year, is going to apply to the cash in your policy, but it's not going to apply to the level of your level of premium is not going to fluctuate. Did I answer that question?
That is correct.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if you want to do a policy, let's do an illustration for you. It's going to be similar to this, and take steps to write you a policy. My brother, I'm telling you, it's very essential to be able to write your own policy. And
yeah. One question. Yeah. Can I write myself a policy if
it's called conflict of interest.
So somebody got to write it.
Somebody has to write it. Yes. Okay. For your policy, the person who is going to write your policy is going to be probably Bosede.
Okay.
Because she's the one who brought you into business.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Bosede who is going to write it. You cannot write it for yourself. You cannot write it for your children. You can write it for your wife. Only if the payment is not coming from the same bank account that you have.
Okay.
So you can write your wife's policy. Or
and my wife can write the policy for me.
Pardon?
And my wife too can as well write a policy for me.
Your wife can write a policy for you, correct?
Of course.
Yes.
That's where we have this insurable interest.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep. So let's get back to our material.
Business. Okay, yeah.
Yes. So, but good questions there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay. I ask questions to get a better understanding of what is going on.
No, very good. Very good. I like that. I like that. So let's go back to our course here. So we're talking about the types of life insurance, and I just wanted to go do that illustration again, show you the types of policies that we deal with. Again, term has a level premium. The premium is level. It doesn't change from one year to another. However, there's a term called annually renewable term. For the annually renewable term, it renews every year. And so because it renews every year, your premium increases just a little bit. So, but it renews without proof of insurability. So you don't need to go do any medical tests. Decreasing term. There's another term called decreasing term. And these are all policies you're going to, or questions you're going to see in the exam. Decreasing term, again, is a term. Remember I talked yesterday about if you go to the bank, you take a loan, they want to take an insurance policy on your head to cover that loan. That insurance policy is called a decreasing term. Another word for it is called credit life. So decreasing term is the same thing as credit life. So decreasing term equals to credit life. All right. So
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You see, maybe I'm bringing my residual knowledge about insurance, and because I am meant to understand that when we are dealing with life, we don't use the word insurance, we use the word assurance.
Okay.
As that when people are being indemnified, you cannot indemnify death, you can only assured for compensation or benefits. So are we still allowed to use the word insurance? Like when we're looking at a kind of policy, like we can say living benefit insurance or living benefit assurance?
Well, we look at this is term is an insurance. Okay, term insurance, that's what they call it, term insurance. It's an assurance. But the living benefit is, we don't really call the living benefit an insurance. We call the living benefits riders.
Riders, okay.
Yes. So you have an insurance policy and then you attach riders to that insurance policy.
Okay.
And what those riders do is that those riders make those policies do certain things. Let me go back to the illustration I did for you, that I just did for you, and show you an example. Just a minute. Where is that? I think this is the one. All right, it's right here. Let me go to menu. See, we have riders here. Remember, we came and we added these riders here. Rider for chronic illness, critical illness, terminal illness. You scroll down, you have all of these riders. Overloan protection rider, concierge planning plan rider, accidental death benefit rider, base insured rider, guaranteed insurability rider, children's rider, waiver riders, income protection rider, long-term care riders. These are all riders that attach to the policy and make that policy do certain things.
Okay, I got it.
All right. So, and we usually put just the critical illness rider and long-term care, because if you add too many riders on your policy, because those riders do not come for free, they cost something. So the additional riders you're putting is going to cost additional money, and they're going to help slow down your cash growth. So that's why we don't put too many riders on our policies. All right.
Okay.
Here they say features of term is renewable. So you can renew your term with evidence of insurability. So you can have a 20-year term, and at the end of the 20 years, your policy expires, so you don't have a policy anymore. However, the insurance company can offer to renew that policy. But at that time, you have to go do a test to show that everything is still okay with you. And that's a risk, because if you had it at 40 and then you're renewing it at 60, something might have cropped up at that time. So term policies are also convertible. So you can convert your term policy, say, to an IUL for index universal life, but you can convert it only within a certain time of having that policy.
Oh,
okay.
Is it certain time of when you take up the policy, or when the policy has been already
some
established?
policies will say you can convert it within 15 years of having the policy up to age 55. After 55, you cannot convert it anymore.
About it again, yeah.
Correct. All right. So whole life, again, I talked about whole life. Just remember that when you see whole life, just know that it will last up to age 100. Up to age 100. So at age 100, your policy will mature. Even
to me, I believe that whole life is maturable at death. That is your whole life. You don't have the term.
Correct.
It's maturable at death, because when you die, that is when the whole life policy, the word whole, that means the rest of your life.
Correct. So again, the premium is level, and it has cash value, and it possibly has other living benefits. Somebody is dialing my phone, and I don't even know where that phone. Let me grab my phone on the table.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So there's what we call ordinary whole life. Again, these are just variations of whole life. So you're not going to have any question on ordinary whole life. There's something called limited pay whole life. Limited pay whole life. And sometimes you have a whole life policy which you can pay for 20 years and you're done. So when they talk about limited pay whole life, they always refer to it as 20 pay whole life. So you pay, sometimes they'll say you pay for 20 years or you pay until age 65. And you stop paying and the policy lasts up to age 100. Okay.
Yeah. So now, like what we were saying, when we look at whole life, I was trying to look at it that it's only maturable at death, but limited, that means they still peg it at 100 years, because they still give you some room. Maybe you will survive 100 years.
Well, it matures at death, yes. But
yes,
if you have the whole life and you die at 69, it has matured. They still pay you the death benefit.
yes.
Yes.
But what you are trying to say here is that if you don't die at 100 years, the policy automatically terminated.
No.
At 100 years.
Okay, good question. It matures at 100 means if you don't die at age 100, they'll pay you the entire death benefit at age 100.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but for whole life, I just feel that the only time it's going to mature is when you die.
Correct. So general characteristics, again, universal life, which is like whole life. You have flexible premium, just like we saw. So universal life is usually seen as you having what they call an annually renewable term. It's a combination of an annually renewable term and a cash or an investment component. Usually they just refer to it as a cash component, There is something called universal life option A, and there's called universal life option B. I'll go back to that illustration that I did for you. And I'll just show you some options here, policy design. When we come here to death benefit options, we have level, increasing, optimal, switch, and graded. Level, increasing, optimal, switch, and graded. Level is what we call option A, and graded is what we usually call option B. What is the difference? All right. Let's say I had selected level on this policy. I say level is the devil. Never give your client level. Why? Because if you select level, it's almost like you've given your client whole life. How so? How so? As you can see, with level, the death benefit doesn't change.
Okay.
Your cash is growing in it, or let me go to the neater form of the report, and let's take a look. Your cash is growing, but the death benefit is not changing. That's why they call it level. I say level is the devil. Okay. Right here, as you can see, your cash is beginning to grow, but the death benefit stays constant. So you have to take your cash out before you die. If you don't take your cash out before you die, the company keeps your cash. That's what they call level. Level will pay you a fixed level death benefit. And that's why I've never written a policy that is level. I select graded, because with graded, as your cash increases, your death benefit also increases. Okay? So as you can see, level, your death benefit is staying constant. Now, let me go and select graded. Let me go and select graded, and we take a look at that. Graded, and do calculate. Do menu, policy design. Oh no, we want to do calculate and go look at. Okay. Good menu, look at our cover page. Okay. So let's scroll down to our need report. Right here. So you see that here, as you start building cash policy value, your death benefit is also increasing. That is graded. Your death benefit is also increasing. You can see that here. Death benefit is also increasing. So you always want to give your client graded. The justification is that for level, there's a slightly more additional growth in cash than graded, but it's not worth it. Why do you want to take the risk to lose your cash to the company? It's not worth it.
Nobody wants to do that.
Correct. So
the story looks like when you have a pension scheme.
Correct.
And they always want you to choose how do you want your pension to be paid.
Correct.
You want it to be paid in whole life or in lump sum.
Correct.
So some people will decide that, okay, in as much they are alive, maybe the company said every month they're going to be paying you 10,000. Depends on what you have as pension. Or you get a whole sum for 700,000. So the judgment is up to you.
Correct.
So even as bad as the level, some people will still say, I want it that way.
Yeah.
But the most important thing, it is better for us to know it.
Correct.
So that we know how to sell it out there.
Correct. Very true. Very true. So other types of policies here, we have what we call variable life. Variable life. For variable life, you pay your premium. Part of your premium covers your death benefit. Part of your premium goes as a variable investment, which means they don't put it in any index account. They put it straight, they buy stocks in the stock market in your policy. That is very risky. We don't do that. We don't do variable. But to be able to do variable, you also need a securities license. So you can do variable, but you need a securities license. We don't do it. because we want to, if people want to invest, they can invest their money by themselves in a brokerage account. So,
okay.
So you'll see questions that talk about when you're doing a variable policy, what do you need? Always remember, you need a securities license. And if you have a securities license, you need to be registered with what they call FINRA, the Financial Insurance Regulatory Authority. You know, so you need a variable license, and then you need to be registered with FINRA. And you also have to remember that if you're doing variable, then you come under the authority of the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. Because if you're doing variable, it means you're investing people's monies in stocks, and stocks are equities. And the SEC regulates stocks and equities. So,
okay.
So here they're talking about annuities. Again, annuities is when you bring money that you roll over that money into an investment that is used as a retirement account. You know, for an annuity, there are times that you're paying money into that annuity, which is when you roll that money over, and we walk through the process of creating that annuity, and then you can either choose, just like you were talking about, your annuity can be a lump sum annuity, like you were talking about with the retirement funds from the company in Nigeria, of you be getting maybe $1,000 versus you just get your $700,000, you know. So in an annuity, you choose for either to have an annuity that they'll, at the end of the annuity period, they'll pay you a lump sum, or you can have an annuity where they'll be paying you an income stream for the rest of your life. Yes.
Yeah, but the difference about those type of annuity, like the one they pay you income stream, immediately you die, then the payment automatically stops.
Correct.
But the ones you get lump sum, it's like they've calculated it from beginning to the end.
Correct.
Because once you die in from my own understanding, when it comes to pension, when you decided to be paying salary stream or wages stream, immediately you die, they stop.
Correct.
Because that is not transferable.
Correct.
To family. And the risk about it is that if you say you want to spread it for the rest of your life, the person may end up just getting 1 month before he died, then the rest go to them.
Correct. So you're right. However, there are some annuities that when they start paying you, okay, and I'm going to show you an example here of a real life annuity that I wrote for a client. So if we look at this annuity here, this is a real life annuity that I wrote for a client that is still active. I wrote this one in 2023. They brought $700,000, and I wrote an annuity. This annuity pays what we call a bonus for bringing that money. So they paid this client about a 30% bonus on the money they brought in. So from day one, their benefit base is $926,000. Again, they brought 700. If you look up here, $700,000 they brought in. They paid them the bonus. Their benefit base is $926,000. This money will grow, is projected to grow to over $1.3 million by the time they start collecting, which is 2029. Or 2030, they start collecting $69,000 every year for the rest of their life. However, when they start collecting, there's still a death benefit.
Okay.
So it's not like if they collect for 1 year and they die, everything goes. No. When they start collecting, there's a death benefit. You can see here, there's a death benefit right here.
Yeah.
But the death benefit decreases as they collect. By the time they've collected for about 14 years, which is right here, or about 12 years, which is right here, 2042, that death benefit goes to zero. But by then, they would have collected a cumulative amount of about 1.176.
Okay, we can say that from 8.7, then the benefits just start decreasing.
Correct. Correct.
Why this one keep increasing?
Correct. No, the benefit here, okay, I see what you're asking. Here, the payment is
the monthly payment.
That's the payment to the client. It's 69,000 if they start collecting from year 2030. If they wait, if they decide, okay, I'm not going to collect from year 2020, 2030, I want to collect from year 2031, then they'll collect 70,000 every year for the rest of their life. If they wait till 2032 to start collecting, if they wait until 2032 to start collecting, then they'll be collecting $73,000.
Yeah, every year you keep going up. That's what it means.
Correct.
Yeah.
You got it.
Why the debt, let's say, year 2030, it collected 69,000. So if you would have died on that year, you would have collected 800 and something as a death benefit.
Correct.
So he got about how many years? Between 30 to 2030, that is about 13 years. Because if he eventually died, this is a bit funny. If he eventually died at age 2043, what he is taking home that day is nothing compared to what his death benefit will look like.
But by 2043, they would have collected $1.296 million. Right here, that's cumulative withdrawals here. They would have collected 1.296, which is way above what they brought in. They brought in 700,000.
It's a bit tricky, but it's a thing I will work out. I will do the spreadsheet analysis.
Correct. But I just wanted to show you, just again to show you how the annuities that we do, how they work. You can also have an annuity that is a lump sum, which means after your money has accumulated, they just pay you a lump sum at the end. And you don't have to do an income stream. In the case that the example that you gave me, it will be like them paying you the $700,000. So annuities, again, have a beneficiary. Let's say you die, that balance of money goes to your beneficiary. So
one of the things I've got to understand now with whole life, except limited life, with whole life, you does not necessarily have to be the beneficiary.
In fact, you are not the beneficiary.
Somebody else got to benefit it. But when it comes to limited life, you can still be the beneficiary. Because at 100, if you don't die, you can still get the money.
Correct. You can still get the money then. Correct. Yeah. So very true. So there are different types of annuities. There are fixed annuities, which means there's a fixed interest rate that annuity grows by. It might be 7.75, it might be 9.25, but it depends on what we contract with the annuity company. There are variable annuities. Again, variable annuities just mean that they invest part of your money in the variable sector, in the stock market.
Separate accounts.
So it's higher risk.
The stock.
There's higher risk. You might make higher returns, but you just have to understand that the risks are higher because you might lose part of your money as well. you know, and
Okay.
then we have index annuity.
Index annuity.
Which means your money is not put in variable, it's put in index. There's a guaranteed interest rate growth. It might be 8.75, but if the market does better than that 8.75, then they pay you an additional growth into your account. So that is the index feature.
Okay, now I like using a lot of scenario. Index annuity, let us say, again, the same scenario. They peg it the rate at let's say 7.25. And things changes and it grow to 8.25. So they're going to pay you the current, or they have to work out the margin?
Ask that question one more time. I missed a little bit of it. Ask that question.
Yeah. What I mean is that, like index annuity, you know, we're looking at index annuity. We said that the interest rate are tied to an interest higher rate than fixed annuity. Fixed annuity, let's say, based on your agreement, let's say 5% is fixed. But index, to me, they said it's tied to higher rate. But higher rate, is it variable or it's fixed? But as the market progresses from, let's say, 7.25 to 8.25, they pay you more, or index just as the same higher index, but it's fixed?
No, that higher rate is variable. Depending,
Okay.
it totally depends on how the market performs.
That is what I mean. Yeah.
Correct.
But the thing is that if the market performs woefully, so they should have a benchmark.
So for index annuity, again, there's a benchmark, to use your term, which is right. There's a benchmark, which means it's a floor. That floor might be 7.75. If the market does better than 7.75, then they pay you additional.
Okay.
Based on the performance. But if the market says doing negative, say the market is going -40, you still get that benchmark.
Okay, I got you. That is it. That is the advantage of index annuity.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So premium payments, you can get an annuity by doing a rollover, which is called a single premium annuity. Let's say you have an old 401k plan or an old retirement plan, and you roll it to create the annuity. That is called a single premium or a lump sum annuity. You can also contract with the annuity company to be making payments into your contract towards building that annuity. That is called
I have a technical question for you.
All right.
When you say rollover, take for example, I have my 401k. All right. And before I'm due to retire at 65.
Okay.
Let's say I have 700,000 in my 401k.
Okay.
But prior to that time, I've got an index annuity that is due to apply 10 years before I retire.
Okay.
Then I go to my 401k and roll all the fund, because I know my index annuity will be due, let's say, next year. I roll every money that I have in my 401k, because I know by the time my index annuity is due, I can withdraw it without penalties.
Correct.
Will the government go after me?
All right. So I now I see the gist of the question you are asking. ask that question again.
Yeah, the gist is that I have a 401k.
Yes.
You know, with 401k, if you are not 65, you can't take anything out.
Correct. No, not 65. Not 65. 59 and a half.
Yeah, 59 and a half. But if you take something, then it's not really full. But 65 is paid for men. Women
No,
is
no,
60.
you're talking about now you are talking there's social security, then there's 401k plan. Social
Okay.
security is what if you can start collecting social security at 52, but it's not going to be full social security. Full social security, you can, I think it's about either 65 or 67. Okay. So, but with your 401k plan, which is your retirement plan from work, you can start withdrawing from it without a penalty at age 59 and a half. So 401k plan and social security are two different.
Okay, maybe I missed it.
Yes.
So let's assume we're using 401k.
Yes.
You know, if you collect it before the due date, then you'll be penalized.
Correct.
But for this World Financial Services thing, like insurance,
yes,
any money you roll from your social security into it does not attract any penalty.
There is no, yeah, if you roll over your money into an annuity,
yeah,
there's no tax consequence and there's no penalty. And let me explain why.
that is it. That is what I'm coming at.
Yes.
That is what I'm coming at.
Yeah.
So if I roll it, because I did roll some money from my 401k in one previous company, then I roll it to another, I didn't have any consequences.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? But because there's a loophole, because there's no consequences. But the loophole I'm seeing there is that if, for example, I have a term like an index annuity that allows me to roll over. If I roll money from my 401k into my index annuity, and coincidentally, my index annuity, the term that we've agreed upon is going to be next year, can't I withdraw everything as I want and take it out without a penalty?
Okay. So when you've rolled money into an annuity, right? You contract to have that annuity for a certain number of years.
Okay.
So you cannot just roll it. So let's say let's go to this practical example here. All right, this is the annuity. So we roll over this $700,000 and we bring it here. This is a 7-year annuity. Year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we contract to have the money in this annuity for 7 years. Based on this contractual agreement, they are paying us a bonus of 30% into this annuity on the money we brought in. So the benefit base is 926. But this is what we call the cash surrender. If you decide that you want to surrender this annuity, this is the money that you will get. 651. Each year, the cash surrender goes up.
Okay.
So if they say bring money into the annuity and then it's a 7-year annuity, 2 years later, you want to take your money out, there's going to be a penalty. And there's already a pre-agreed amount, which is the cash surrender.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm a philosophical thinker.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good to know all your options.
Okay, based on what you have here now, the risk about this is that because tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Correct.
But we all work on the forecast that okay, yeah, I'm 65. Then I brought in 700,000 from my 401k. The first year I survived it. Then the second year will be my benefit because the first year, if anything happened, I didn't get anything because it's just 9,000 different.
Correct.
If anything happened. So, but what I'm getting on benefit, payout is instantly huge.
Correct.
But if anything happened, my loss, I didn't really gain.
Yeah, if anything happens, for example, say if you take the money out, then you did not really gain. For example, by year 1, the death benefit, say if you die, it's 709 that they pay.
That's 9,461 dollars.
Gain.
That is what you gain a whole year. But technically, which is still not bad than nothing.
Correct.
So that person must try to stay alive for 7 years.
Yes.
To get something better from it.
Correct.
So if I have to sell this policy, the advantage is the benefit base every year, which is the benefit base. What is supposed to get?
The benefit base is increasing, and this benefit base will lead to lifetime income withdrawals. Starting at this age 69, they start withdrawing $69,000 every year for the rest of their life.
So the benefit base is just a paper prediction.
Yeah, it's a forecast. It's forecast based on the market conditions, and and based on the interest rate growth that is assigned to your annuity. Yes.
So I'm getting it now.
Yes.
Because after 7 years, if you don't die, you have 69,000. That is, I look at it as the interest in, because I was doing a lot of CDs. So that gave me some insight into this thing. If you don't break your CD, they pay you all your full amount. But when you break it, you pay penalties.
Correct.
So if that person didn't die, you get 69,000 the first year. So it's like after 7 years, this is when its real journey started.
Correct. You got it. Yeah.
Okay, let's fire on.
All right. Okay. So annuities can also be described as either immediate annuities or deferred annuities. For an immediate annuity, let's say you bring money from your 401k plan, you roll it into your annuity, and you start getting paid immediately. So you don't wait for 7 years, you don't wait for 5 years. You create that annuity, they start making yearly or monthly payments to you within the first year. That is called an immediate annuity. Within the first 12 months, within the first year, you start receiving payments. That's an immediate annuity. A deferred annuity is, for example, what we saw, where they would delay starting to pay you for maybe 5 or 7 years. So that is called a deferred annuity.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So payout options. Again, like we saw, you can get paid out by just receiving a lump sum. Okay, at the end. So instead of receiving $69,000 a year, at the end of those 7 years, you just receive a gigantic lump sum for your amount of money. But that would have been the way you contracted with the annuity from the beginning. Okay. So life-only annuity means they pay only for the annuitant's life. There's no remainder. So the annuities where it's life only. You know, refund life annuity, there's guaranteed income upon the annuity. The balance is refunded to beneficiary in cash or installment. So like we saw that death benefit, that is an example of a refund life. If you don't collect all the money, they still pay something to a beneficiary. Joint life is when you can have two people on an annuity. So you can have a husband and a wife, they own a single annuity. So for joint life annuities, when they start paying, they'll pay both people a certain amount of money.
Okay.
But when one person dies, the payments stop for joint life.
Whoa.
But the payments that you'll be receiving are going to be higher. All right. They have something that they call joint and survivor right here, where they'll be paying two people. Again, it's an annuity based on two lives, husband and wife, usually. When after the first person dies, they continue paying until after the second person dies before it stops. That is called joint and survivor. What I always tell students to write is joint life equals to first to die. Joint life equals to first to die.
To write that?
Pardon?
Oh, you want what we're supposed to write that?
Yes, right. Just write joint life equals to first to die. Yeah, joint life equals to first to die. And then write.
If one dies, they continue paying.
No, if one dies, they stop for joint life.
Yes. Okay.
This is joint life. If the first person dies, they stop. Joint life.
Okay.
For joint and survivor, write
joint
down.
And survivor.
Yeah, write joint and survivor equals to second to die. Joint and survivor equals to second to die.
Okay.
So when the second person dies, they stop. You know, then you have another type here called annuity setting. Annuity setting. For annuity setting, they will pay you for a certain period of time, or they'll pay you a fixed amount. So for annuity setting, they'll pay you for a fixed period of time. For example, they can say they'll pay you for 20 years.
Okay.
If you die at year 12, then they'll pay the remainder to your beneficiary.
Good. I got it now.
Yes. So that's fixed period. There's also fixed amount, which means you can say annuity setting, they'll pay you a fixed amount every month or every year. If you die without exhausting the total amount of the annuity, then they pay the remainder to your beneficiary.
Okay.
So I'm going to plead with you. Now it's time for us to get into the questions. I'm going to plead with you that we stop here because I have an appointment.
All right.
And then we rejoin tomorrow.
We'll rejoin tomorrow to do it. Okay, that's fine.
And then when we rejoin tomorrow, we get the question started.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been a fun evening. Thank you, Mr. Okunda. I appreciate your presence.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care.
And you too. Have a good evening.
Yep. Have a good one. Yep.
Bye.